Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, or actually good evening. Welcome to Tuesday's Market SITREWP, or Situation Report here at Top Gun Options. My name is Matthew Buckley. My call sign is Wiz, and hopefully everybody had a relaxing Memorial Day weekend and took some time to pause and remember why we actually have Memorial Day. Had a great weekend. Took the L39 up to Fairhope, Alabama, and flew our ass off. Really good time. Formation training, just some dog fighting, some ACM, BFM, you name it. Really good time, and then came back down here home, and you really don't, happy Memorial Day, celebrate Memorial Day. I don't. Well, I celebrate the fact that I got to serve with the most incredible Americans you'll ever have the chance not to meet, unfortunately. I had a post on my Facebook page and on Top Gun Options about before we even deployed to go to Iraq on board USS Abraham Lincoln in CAG 11. We lost this many people, folks. The first female Navy fighter pilot, Kara Holtgren, Kana. It breaks my heart. Before we even deployed to the Persian Gulf to fly combat missions over Iraq in support of Operation Southern Watch, those are the people we lost. There were more over the years, Boo Boo, friends, students, Blue Angels. So Memorial Day, it's a little bittersweet, and so I took the appropriate time to remember my friends. Okay, so the market, the S&P 500 at least popped through 3,000 today. It didn't hit it. The 200-day moving average with any sort of airspeed, it kind of stalled, and then the president, of course, had to do something like this. Stock market up big, Dow crosses 25 grand, S&P 500 over 3,000. The last time the president tweeted about how great the market was, this happened. Then the next time the president remarked how cheap the market was, that happened. And now the president's telling us how great the market is. Of course, coming from a president who reminded us a couple months ago that he doesn't look at the stock market and comment and stuff. And here we go. So that's a sell signal right there. Took a loss last week on an EWZ bear call spread. EWZ is the ETF that follows Brazil. I got pounded out of that. And that was bad. So you actually learn more from your losses than you do your winners. Look at this. EWZ at one point was up another 9% today. Brazil is getting hammered, folks. It's getting destroyed by COVID. Very close friend of mine, her sister has it, and her brother-in-law, the husband there, has leukemia, so she can't be around him. They've been apart for 2 weeks, and it's awful. Brazil's getting destroyed. The president's completely out of touch, and calling it just a little sickness while all the governors want to shut down. The president wants to keep it open. No, I'm not talking about the United States. I'm talking about Brazil. Why do I have Operation Car Wash up here? Probably the biggest corruption scandal in history down in Brazil. Here's what I'm bringing up. Let me just get to the point here. I'm not going to be bearish on Brazil anytime soon. Well, Wiz, what the hell, man? You just said they're imploding, and it doesn't matter, folks. Their Federal Reserve, I have on good authority, is actually buying equities. Remember, the reason I brought up Operation Car Wash is because Brazil, Petrobras, Vale, some of the big Brazilian energy companies are owned, I think Petrobras is like 65% owned by Brazil, by the country, I'll say in this case the politicians. Man, there was some bad stuff going on in this thing. You want to talk about money and corruption and this and that. So when the government owns a lot of a, quote, public company, a lot of bad can happen. What am I getting at is when you're propping up the stock market. I mean, the Brazilian central bank, the Federal Reserve of Brazil, isn't doing anything less than or more than what we're doing. I mean, our Federal Reserve is more or less propping up this market with liquidity. So short story long, you should not be bear. You can't fight a Fed. You can't fight a central bank. Doesn't matter how much you work out. I mean, look at this. We did get an implosion, the initial implosion that the rest of the world got, but look at that. The invisible hand of the I was going to say PBOC, the PBOC being the People's Bank of China. Why? Because I knew that was happening. I knew the People's Bank of China, not so invisible hand. Look at that. They had their implosion, and then boing, they had a great return. Why? Not because people aren't dying or because the country's economy is back, is because it's being supported by the PBOC. So, short story long, losing trade last week in EWZ, not too happy about it, but I should have known just based on action. Well, I should have actually picked up the phone and called in this favor earlier to find out if that was in fact the case. Now that I know, I ain't touching that stove again. In other good news, Kim's new nuclear-capable submarine about to deploy, according to South Korea. Folks, he's built a ballistic missile submarine. So remember a couple years ago, man, it does seem like 10 years ago that, oh my God, you remember Hawaii? They had like a missile. It was by accident, of course. Good government employee there in Hawaii had a missile alert, and you got 20 minutes to kiss your loved ones, and we're all going to get vaporized. Guy had a heart attack. A guy died. Remember? The west coast of the United States and Hawaii are going to be, Donald Trump's going to get us into nuclear. He didn't. He met the dude twice. He actually walked into North Korea. I have a buddy in the Secret Service. He's like, they're still talking about that to this day. Each guy had their guns were near their hands, like and they all had a mirror. All of them were ordered, like, you got that guy. Anybody sneezes, you shoot him in the forehead. It was crazy. Anyway, what am I getting at? We have a new axis of evil, right? I'm going to pull this article forward. Let's read this headline together. Like it was designed to infect humans. COVID-19 cell culture theory gains steam. It's almost like this thing was designed to infect humans. I'm not going to get into the booger eating of it. I told you this in January. I knew they played with this thing in January in the lab, and it, quote unquote, accidentally got out. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wanted to pacify a renegade province called Taiwan, and every weekend 4 million Hong Kongans were taken to the streets and protesting against you, Xi Jinping, what would you do? How would you placate? How would you pacify 4 million protesters in Hong Kong and get an island like Taiwan to just kind of roll over? You answered it with me. You get them sick. Xi Jinping wasn't going to storm into Hong Kong like Tiananmen Square, although he could. He sent troops and made it look like it. But now he's going for the nuclear option, meaning it's not going to be two systems, one state. Remember, China agreed to this when Britain, used to be Great Britain, gave Hong Kong back to the Chinese. What happened? They signed with the UN and Britain and the world and said, no, we'll let Hong Kong be Hong Kong. We're cool. Here they come. No, they're not. You are now part of China, and if you don't agree with this, look at this, man. There's Hong Kong legislators being dragged out by Chinese secret police. Folks, they're moving. The U.S. is bluffing. China claims Trump is too weakened by pandemic to intervene in Hong Kong. Ladies and gentlemen, North Korea, China, you ready for this one? Iran. The Democrats, all of them do not want an up stock market and Trump reelected. This is a new axis of evil. But who cares? Optimism over reopening pushes stocks higher. Hey, it looks like for the economy, the worst of coronavirus shutdowns may be over. Unless, of course, you live where? The blue state lockdown blues. Red states, open, partying, trying to get back to work and normal life. Blue states, no, we can't. And harumph, you're all going to die and stay at home and don't work. Why are they doing that, folks? Because pieces of shit like Bill Maher, like a horse. Remember what he said last year or a couple years ago? I want us to go into a recession or a depression. This was before COVID, folks. Bill Maher said, I hope we go into a recession. I hope Americans hurt. More or less like, I hope you lose your job and you can't feed your family, so you're hurting, so you don't vote for Trump. That is the Democratic Party to a T. So we have either $10 trillion of liquidity that the Fed and the Treasury have pumped into this market to try and get us back airborne, or we have North Korea, China, and the other shithole that I didn't mention, Iran. They're all. I'm warning you now. So you guys know, if you follow me for long enough, you know my warnings are pretty damn tight, very tight. I'm telling you, ever hear the term October surprise? I think we are going to see an October surprise right before the election, man. Something big and bad is going to happen, or the Democrats and the liberal media will just lie about it. Oh my God, there's a second wave hitting this nation and everybody needs to be inside and we have to vote by mail. Why don't we put like voting machines in Lowe's and Home Depot and Target and Walmart and Costco? We can all walk around there, right? So it's interesting because the CDC confirms remarkably low death rate, but the media kind of aren't letting you know that. My God, look at this, folks. I mean, we've destroyed our economy, 40 million Americans out of work with something that has a 99.006% survivability rate. Are you nuts? It's absolutely insane. But we are the smart money, folks. Not just me, in general. Jeffrey Gundlach, $148 billion asset under management. He runs Double Line Capital. What did he say on April 27th, folks? April 27th, almost to the day a month ago. Jeffrey Gundlach, $148 billion, is shorting the market, says a retest of the lows very plausible. How you looking, Jeff? You are getting destroyed. One of my institutional calls today, a friend of a friend is at Double Line. They're getting destroyed. He's out of these shorts, folks. If he didn't get out of those shorts by it, unless of course he's lying, but I don't think so because he's also on Twitter wanking like a stuck pig about the Fed and this. I can't believe and harump. He doesn't sound like he sounds like a jilted lover. So folks, I love this headline. Retail investors are crushing hedge funds again. Yep. You are the smart money. Dudes like that ain't so smart. Just because you manage a lot of money, folks, doesn't mean you're not an idiot. It's the same thing like with John McCain or other people like, or Bob Mueller, right? Oh, he was a Marine. He's above I served with a couple of idiots, man. I have no idea. John McCain was an awful naval aviator. What he did in Vietnam, his service as a POW, above reproach. My God, man, the pain and suffering the man endured. However, he was a shitty naval aviator and a horrible politician. So don't give me this just because a guy wears a uniform, he's above reproach. Democrats only do that when they need them. Bob Mueller he's as traitorous as Comey and everybody else. He knew day one of his Mueller investigation, they had crap. And he knew it was bad, and these dirty agents, and he had 19 angry Democrats. Some of them were Clinton attorneys. Are you... whatever. I can't even rant anymore because it hurts the mind. But that headline makes me smile. Retail investors are crushing hedge funds. Again, look at that word. That word's even better. So we had a good day today. We had two trade briefs. We had the joint weekly options and primary live trade brief. We got bearish on FXI, big pop on FXI, and a nice little sell-off into the close today. Holding JP Morgan. Look at that. Bang, smash into the close. JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon had a good, piece today and about how I'm never or not going to cut the dividend and, pretty damn solid. So nice run in JP Morgan, and we gave some of that back. So we talked in the brief today about kind of hanging in that. It's only Tuesday, holiday shortened week, obviously, but I think the market's going to give some of this back. We're going to chop around this 200-day moving average, and like I've always said, folks, if you hit a moving average with airspeed, it's a buy signal for the algos. If you hit it with stall, it's not a buy signal. So I think this is some chop, not bear. I'm cautiously bullish at this point, which is I think a pretty comfortable place to be. Okay. All right, so tomorrow we're going to pull up accelerated retirement. We're going to do that at noon because I want to go take a look at that space launch up at Cape Canaveral. That's history, folks. This is the first two Americans launched in the space since one of the last. I should know this. The last shuttle mission, and I don't, which is bad. I'm going to go look that up right now. Okay, so we'll do AR, accelerated retirement, tomorrow afternoon at noon. Your homework tonight is to look up Disney, baby. Check out what's going on with Disney. Parks are getting ready to reopen. EN should be on fire here shortly once we open, because ESPN was getting ready to go out. It was a leech on Disney. Now we haven't seen sports. My God, NHL's talking about coming back. The NBA, we get sports even if it's an empty stadium. People will be flocking to their TVs to watch this. So ESPN might turn into the crown jewel of Disney and the reopening parks. So we're going to talk tomorrow about maybe getting along Disney. Okay. All right. Have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge and God bless. I'll talk to you tomorrow.